Greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till an honorable knowledge seeker. Today I'm your host for the evening. My name is Badhun Dasha. I'm from Bangladesh, dear knowledge seeker. I'm proud to be associated with IGP. IGP is a social and I serve international education and benefit. Last years we already served 35 million knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 450 plus profession and 4,500 plus organizations. Institute of Global Professional is an education institute that provides social work globally recognized and affordable. We serve student community resource providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one skill just by offering formal education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. We distribute our services locally, nationally, internationally to students, job seeker, job holder, and also for learners, the respective campus location and distance learning platform. We are an occupational and dependable institute. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our vision is education is not a business product, it's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminar courses, award, quiz competition, mentoring, and counseling, etc. On the other side, we are also trying to offer more than 100 premium services for free, like create own portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, and wall knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge, which can update all day. Kids learning game website, free course, convert sites, and many more. We help empower you to learn to meet their expectation and dream and become highly skilled people. We implement several training program, webinar, and offline online courses for youth and learner by professional trainer, speaker, and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop all kind of youth and to promote the education of their abilities and personality. Speaking knowledge is crucial for the Institute of Global Professionals. Need their knowledge is level, light, and vision. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation and we serve them with good research and practice method. We must have a genuine concern for the learner we present. More diversity, growth, and innovation are required to lead a session with professionalism, passion, and integrity. IGP members are committed to offering effective best quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can improve their skill level and value. Before we move to the next, let me remind, don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. So support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind, don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Moving to the next with the continuous support. We already completed 2009 webinar successfully. Moving to the next with your continuous support. We already completed 2009 webinar successfully. Dear IGP speaker, participant, and well wisher, at this moment, this is a very important message for you all. We change and design our website www.eduigp.com. On this website, we have surprise for everyone. Hope you will be benefited. We already launched our new website where you can find all our previous activities together with lots of new features. But one strong point is that without an account logged in, you cannot enjoy yourself. So create your account for once with profile information. Note that with profile information, you'll enjoy our feature. With mismatched data, you cannot do anything here. From now on, you have to participate in live quiz competition on our website. We replace that. You have to join directly on our website. Now you can check all of our previous webinars with verified e-certificate. Now it's easier and time and reviews. After the session, we will not provide you any code for certification. You have to take part in one exam. After that, if you pass, you will receive your certificate. Otherwise, not. But you can take part in an exam unlimited till you pass. If you are an IGP speaker, you can download all your previous certificate, speakership certificate. If you are a host of IGP, you can download a certificate of gratitude. If you are an online live quiz competition winner, you can download a certificate of participation. If you are selected for a lifetime membership, then you can download a certificate of lifetime membership easily. Besides this, if you participate in an award function which organizes combined support with IGP, you can download that also. You can still prepare and download 18 types of certificate from our website within a minute. Certificate of Global Professional Membership, Certificate of Global Influence in the Pandemic, Certificate of Active Knowledge Seeker, Certificate of Social Activities in the Pandemic, Certificate of Achievement IGP Knowledge Seeking Campaign 2020, 2021, and 2022, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 1, Authentic Assessment in Teaching Learning, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 2, Teaching English as a foreign language and assessment, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 3, Digital Classroom Engagement 2, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 4, Upskill also leadership and managerial skills, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 5, the new trend in education, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 6, trend in innovation in mathematics education, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 7, research comprehension approach, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 8. 21st century tooling teaching mathematics, Certificate of IGP Corporate Ambassador, Certificate of IGP Campus Ambassador, which you can prepare and download within a minute. From now on, you can participate in 1000 plus international level quizzes, verified certificate. Teaching tips for teacher, health tips for parents, health tips for teens, education tools for teacher. You can join IGP alumni. You can check out our previous student services website for free and many more. Dear IGP well-wisher, we promised previously, but lack of technical problem, we're late sending you on time. This is a great opportunity to collect your previous conditions, to solve all issues from our website. Now you can enroll, reset password, everything, and check your dashboard for all webinar details. It's a cordial request to check all button and pages on our website. Sure, like and say you will be benefited. Thank you, but note that without an account or login, you cannot enjoy our services. At present, we are going to start our 2010 webinar, which name is Language and Communication, and today our speaker's name is Dr. Amitav Bikram Dwivedi. He is from India. Before I hand over the stage to our speaker, sir, I'll share a very little bit about him. University faculty, Sri Mata, Vaishno Devi University author, researcher, India. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with his presentation. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with his presentation. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, all of you. So, shall I start with my presentation?
Yes, sir, but please make it full screen first.
Okay. Okay. So, the topic of my presentation is language and communication. So, these are the two things that we will be discussing today in this presentation, and I welcome all the participants who have joined online. So, we all know that what is the role of language in our life. And when we talk about what Faninand Saussure once said, and Faninand Saussure is known as the founder of modern linguistics, and there is one book under his name that is the Course in General Linguistics. And in that book, at one place, Faninand Saussure once said that language is primary and writing secondary. So when we talk about language, though when we talk about professional communication or when we talk about soft skills, then generally we take into consideration both spoken and written. They fall under the verbal communication, and we also take into consideration the non-verbal communication. But when we talk about structural linguistics or structuralism or the theory of Faninand Saussure, then language is primarily spoken and writing is secondary. So that means the spoken has given more emphasis when it comes to study linguistics formally. And even when we observe that how we can become successful in our life, then we know that someone who is a good speaker is more successful. Someone who can communicate his thoughts and ideas is more successful than the other person. Though when it comes to day-to-day communication, then there is more emphasis on spoken. But when it comes to academics, then the written communication is more important. But my suggestion is that we need to make a balance between spoken and written communication. And for that purpose, there is a discipline known as English language teaching or applied linguistics, where we give equal emphasis on four skills. They are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And there are sub skills as well, like vocabulary, note taking, and others. So in this presentation, we will we will be discussing both language and communication. Now, first we will discuss what is the relationship between language and communication. Now, as you can see on your slide, on this slide, that there are signals like signal 1, signal 2, signal 3, dot, 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 n. N means like n number of signals. So basically, what are these signals? So when it comes to written communication, then these signals are like the alphabets. And when it comes to the spoken communication, then basically these signals are the sounds. So when we talk about formal linguistics, when we talk about structural linguistics, or when we follow what Ferdinand Saussure philosophized, then basically we are talking about that there are certain sounds in a particular language, and those sounds are important. But those sounds, they make a pattern. And when we talk about making a pattern, That means we are actually talking about how these sounds come one after another. So let's say when we talk about English language, then in English language we have 26 letters starting from A ending with Z. But these are letters, these are not sounds. And when we talk about sounds, then it is generally accepted that in the English language we have 44 sounds, including both consonants and vowel sounds. So generally we have 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sounds, and the total is 44. So when we try to define what is language, then language is a set of signals. So signals can be a script when we write using letters, and these signals can be sounds when we speak. So it is not one sound or a couple of sound we make, but generally we make a stream of sounds. So stream is a metaphor. A stream, we use like the water that is flowing, we could say it's a stream. So similar stream of sounds, that means like the sounds, they are coming from one's mouth continuously, and this is the way we communicate. So another way of understanding this thing is like human mind is a sophisticated translating machines. So you all know what is a translating machine. Like on Google, you have Google Translate. So Google is a software that is also a translating machine. So you write something and you give command to Google that translate it into Bangla language. You translate into, let's say, Hindi language. You translate into French language, and then accordingly the software translates it. So similarly here we are comparing human mind, and what we are saying like human mind is a sophisticated, that means like more refined than any software like Google. So how this translation or how this thing happens actually? So we have sound waves. So what I'm doing right now, let's say I'm talking to you, I am just uh, discussing on this topic, language and communication. But what am I actually producing? I am producing sound waves. And because you are you are aware of the English language, you know English language, so these sound waves are actually meaningful to you. So these sound waves are not any sound waves, but they are coming in such in making a pattern. So like there is a sound, let's say a phoneme, then phoneme combines, then you have morphemes, then morphemes combine, then you have a word, then word combines, then you have a phrase, then phrase combines, you have a clause or a sentence, and then you know the meaning of those words, phrases, and sentences, and then I am just I'm just making a meaningful thought and idea. So it's like I'm encoding, let's say, what's in my mind through sound waves, through speech sounds, and you are decoding those sound waves, those speech sounds through your ears. So this is how this entire thing functions. So I am encoding, you are decoding. And once you encode and say something, what I have said, then it will becomes a feedback. So generally, like when we talk about a communication model, there are different communication model starting from Shannon and Weaver uh, to other communication experts. But Shannon and Weaver was the first one who gave a communication model, and the encoding decoding part and the channel and the role of the noise, then the medium, all things are quite important. So we have used the term signal, like in the first slide we have used the term signal, but actually Saussure, the founder of modern linguistics, he used the term sign, and not any sign but a linguistic sign. That means the language sign he used. And what he said, that is quite important to understand, because this is also related to a communication model. What is said, that signified takes precedence over signifier. So signified is basically a concept, a thought, and signifier is basically the spoken one or the written form. So what is said, like the thought comes before the form. So that means, like if I want to say something, first I need to think it and then I will say it, and I can express it. So I can express it using spoken form, I can express it using a written form. So that is the meaning of signified takes precedence over signifier. That means first thing is signified and then comes the signifier. So we have said, like signified is thought and signifier is either spoken or written form. But as I mentioned earlier, what Faninandi Sasur said that the spoken is primary and writing secondary. So when we talk about spoken thing, then basically we are talking about something that is in our mind. That means both signifier and signified are psychological entities. So that is the original meaning. That is the original meaning of Saussure. Later, linguists generally they have this division that signifier is both spoken and written. But initially, what Saussure thought and said that signifier is only the spoken form, because we follow we follow what he said, like spoken is primary and writing secondary. So primary, that means like what comes first. And if you observe yourself, then you can notice that if I raise the question like what did you do first, so you will say like, okay, I learned uh, how to speak first, and then once I joined school or any formal institution, then I learned how to write. So the important thing is like this signifier and signified both are the psychological entity. Psychological, that means like that is in the mind, and this is the model given by Saussure. So it is also known as Saussurean model or Saussure's model of sign. And this is like a very famous like when I say tree, then you think of an image of a tree, and then you realize. So that means like there is no one-to-one corresponds between the thought and the form, because tree is written like TREE, and it has nothing to do with the image of the actual tree. So this actually indicates like the signified takes precedence over the signifier. Now, when we talk about communication, then there is often some confusion regarding whether other species can communicate too. So the answer is like yes, like they can also communicate. So when it comes to like honeybee communicates about honey and new hive. So similarly, when we take into consideration chimpanzee, then chimpanzee use vocalizations to warn danger, to signal the finding of food, or to indicate mating. And when we talk about fish, particularly dolphins, then dolphins can communicate information on food and danger by means of whistles and click. Now the question arises like other species, they can also communicate. Then what is the difference between like human beings, they communicate, and the other species or animals, they communicate? Now the answer to this question is very subtle. They can the animals, the species, they can communicate only limited number of messages. So let's say dolphins can send 50 messages, not more than that. That means you can consider one message is equal to one sentence. So dolphins only communicate like 50 sentences in their entire life. Similar cases with the chimpanzee, similar cases with the honeybee or other species. But the wonderful thing about human language is that though we have only 26 alphabets starting from A to Z and 44 sounds, but we have the duality of patterning. That means like we can use them. For example, I have three sounds like g, o, d, like these three, or you can say god in letter. But I can make like two words, like I can say dog, dog, using the same sounds or same letters, and I can say god, god. So no other pattern is possible. So this patterning is important. Like you can reuse, like recycle the same sound and make hundreds and thousands and millions of words. So that is the beauty of human language, that you can recycle, reuse again and again. So human beings communicate and animals also communicate. But there is a difference, and the difference is of the patterning. The difference is of like the degree. Like we can make innumerable sentences. For example, like the sentence, i have seen I have seen a huge dinosaur in my garage. Now there is the possibility that many of you have first time heard this sentence. So it is a creative sentence, it is a new sentence, but you already know what is a dinosaur, you already know what is a garage, what is a huge. Fine. So that means like we can reuse the same word in different patterns, in different phrases, and can make innumerable sentences. So when we just make a comparison between human communication and animal communication, then we can see that human language is flexible, complex, and it is precise. Precise means like we can say what do we mean, and productive. Productive means like we can produce innumerable number of sentences. So even like initially Google was a company, still Google is a company, but we Google and the name of a company is actually a noun, but we can say like I am googling. So that means like you can just change a noun into a verb, so it is like the productive. Or I have googled it a lot. So that type of construction you can make. I think I am audible to all of you, and you are hearing me because I am only seeing my screen. So I hope I am audible and I am still online. Is it? And when we compare it with animal communication, then then we can see that the animal communication is basically fixed. So what do we mean by that animal communication is fixed? That means like only 50, 60 messages. So like some species they make 30 messages, 20 messages, and generally the messages are limited in number. So like when a dog is happy, then the dog will wag his tail. Fine. So likewise, so it's simple, less precision, not productive at all. So humans have learned to make infinite use of finite means. So finite means, that means like 26 letters, 44 sounds, and uh, a million words, but innumerable sentences. So animal can make finite use of finite means. So this is basically the difference between the two system, and the credit goes to the recursivity. Recursivity, that means like you can reuse. Fine. Then again, like does my dog really understand what I am saying? The answer is no. Because generally there is a possibility that certain things or certain symbols or certain commands your dog or your parrot or any other pet can understand, but it is not really the case that you start telling your dog that how hectic was your day, or that you really felt bad uh, when you came to know about your colleague sickness. So even if you start saying these things to your dog, then obviously dog will not understand. So why? Because there is the design features of language, and the design feature of language, they will answer this thing like why my dog really do not understand what I am saying. So Charles Hockett, again an important linguist, and he is the author of a course in modern linguistics, a book published in 1958. And in that book, he gave design features. So what are actually design features? These features, they characterize human language and distinguish it from other communication system. So we have different type of communication system, like sign language is one system. Let's say machine communication is another system. Traffic signal gestures another system. So human language is one system. So I remember like what Ferdinand de Saussure once said. Like Ferdinand de Saussure once said, like language is a system of systems. So what do we mean by this phrase system of systems? So phonology is one system, morphology is another system. Fine. Then syntax is another system, semantics another system, pragmatics another system. So these are like various systems, but these systems are interlinked, connected to each other. So it is like language is a system of systems. That is the thing uh, posited by Faninandi Saussure. Then he said like uh, language is a system of differences. So again, like a cat is cat because cat is not mat. We know mat is something else and cat is something else. So when we compare these two letters, cat and mat, we find like the initial sound in cat is kh and the initial sound in mat is ma. So there is a distinction. There is a distinction. That's why the word becomes meaningful. So the meaning lies in difference. Fine. The meaning lies in distinction. So this is like language is a system of systems and language is a system of differences. And the relationship between signified and signified is arbitrary. Arbitrary, that means like not direct. So we have seen like the relationship between how we write TREE and the concept, the image of a tree has nothing to do. So there is no match between. So there are certain words where there is a match. Those words are known as basically onomatopoeic words. Onomatopoeic words means like when you copy the nature sounds. So for example, there is a sound like the dog sound, like bow bow. So bow bow is just like an onomatopoeic sound copying from the nature, but these words are very few, like 100, 200, or 500 words, not more than that. So bow bow in English becomes in Hindi bhaw bhaw. Fine. So in other language, something similar too. So like how a cock, uh, uh, so cock a doodle doo. So like a cock a doodle doo, and in Hindi it becomes kukunuku. So these are like basically onomatopoeic sounds, but this is not language. Onomatopoeic sounds are some words that we have copied from the nature and we are using it. So when we talk about Hockett's design feature of language, then one such feature is semanticity. And the semantics is basically the study of meaning, and it is also a discipline. So ITY is the quality of a linguistic system that has been able to convey meaning. So what do we have in this? Like we have like sound patterns, sound signals, and they matched with specific meaning. So as I said, like I have three sounds like d or g, and when I say it dog, it becomes meaningful. So there is the patterning. If I say o d g, then it has no meaning. Only d or g has meaning, g or d has meaning. So certain patterns, they are meaningful. So life is also patterned. So if you know how to read the patterns the life is conveying to you, then your entire life will become more meaningful. But it is not easy to read those patterns that the nature or the life suggests you. So that is more philosophical, but we will stick to this linguistics thing. So bottom line is that the words have meaning. So generally we all understand what is the concept of word. We know like we combine certain letters and we can make words, but all combinations are not allowed. For example, dog is allowed but odg is not allowed, or gdo is not allowed. So that way semanticity works. Then arbitrariness is again a design feature, and that is like, so there is no direct relationship between signifier and signified, no logical connection. So there is no logical connection that why kutta is like a dog in Hindi or hund in German. So when we say kutta, then again the image will become like this. We will say dog, the image will become like this. The hund, the image will become like this. The image will be different. There is a possibility that when I say dog and you start thinking of your Alsatian dog, or when I say kutta, then you start thinking of some street dog. Or generally, like there is a movie, Hindi movie Sholay, and there is a very famous dialogue in that movie. I don't know like how many of you understand Hindi language, but there is one dialogue where the dog is compared to a man. So that is again, dog is also an abuse. And like when we say a poor dog to a person, that means we are talking about the poverty of that person. Like when we say he's a poor dog, that means he's living a life like a dog. So these are metaphorical use actually, but this is a literal one, like kutta and the image of a dog, or hund or an image of a dog, or like a dog and the image of a dog. So this relationship is arbitrary. This relationship is not direct. And there are only few words, as I have mentioned previously. Those words are known as onomatopoeic words. Then another important design feature is discreteness. That means messages are made up of smaller and repeatable part. So the recycling thing. So again, like the, or, g, three sounds, three letters, and when they come like this, then it becomes meaningful. Otherwise, it is not meaningful. Then another thing about human language is that the quality of displacement. Displacement is like we can think about things which are not in front of us. Like it is not possible for a dog to have a 5 year planning or even a week planning. A dog cannot plan a week, but we can plan what we will do after 5 years. We can plan uh, what we will do this entire year. We can think beyond time and beyond space. Like you are living in Bangladesh, you are living in India, but you can think of America, US, or any other popular place where you are not physically present. And that is also not possible. Uh, that is only possible because of the language, that the quality of displacement. So thinking about past and future, telling your friends what happened yesterday, or telling your friend like what you will do, or you can plan what you will do next, or you're talking about here or elsewhere. So all such things are possible because of language. Another thing is like the productivity. So language users can understand and create never before heard utterances. So I said like I saw a huge dinosaur in my garage, and I said like there is very much a possibility that many of you are hearing this thing first time. But at the same time, we also know about there is a term known as Ludling, and Ludling is known as the secret language. So Ludling is actually a jargon in social linguistics and secret language. So children generally they develop Ludling, and there is a word play. So I remember when I was a kid, quite small, then we developed one Ludling, that if there is a word like Badshah, and Badshah means king, then what we used to do, like we used to put one nasal sound like na, and adding one extra cha. So Badshah become Banchatsha. So chidiya become chinchidiya. Fine. So this ch and na and cha, this type of, and copying the same sound like banchadsha, badshah, banchadsha, chidiya, chinchidiya. So what is coming in the first syllable, we are just copying it to this red part. So this is basically a part of creativity. It is not like, not languages don't do not work like this, but human beings, they are quite creative. So when we talk about machine language, we are talk about we talk about like AI. Now we talk about artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is like actually a language created by human being, a machine can understand. So this is again the productivity part of. But how is it possible? So it is not possible like without knowing the natural language you are able to create the artificial intelligence or artificial language. So again, the natural language comes first, then the role of the other things that you can do using that language. Fine. So the duality of patterning, that means recycling. A large number of meaningful utterances can be made from a small number of discrete parts of language. So as I said, like the or ga, you can repeat that sound or you can reuse that sound, dog, god, go, do, fine. Then suffixes you can attach to many roots like happiness, goodness, kindness. So this ness is same, but you can use it, reuse it again and again, and you can make different words. Then similarly, like words can be combined to create novel sentences like John loves Mary, then Mary loves John. So you are using the same words, but you are just changing the sequence. But this sequence is also fixed, particularly when it comes to English language, because in English language, the word order is rigid. The word order is fixed. So it is like subject, verb, object. That is the word order. So it will never be like John Mary loves or loves John Mary, though there is a possibility that you will guess some meaning associated with that. But it's still like if you need to say this thing, you will say either John loves Mary, that is one thing, or Mary loves John, but the meaning is different. So when we compare this human communication versus animal communication, and when we look at the other design features, then these design features, they are categorized under certain types. So for example, like specialized, interchangeable, sensitive to feedback, interactive, they are user type design features. Then meaningful, productive, displaced from here and now, prevarication, fine, these are the message type. Then arbitrary, hierarchical, discrete, learnability, reflexiveness, these are the code type. And modality specific, rapid feeding, directional, reception, one to many, these are signal type. So we are not discussing these all because we have only 1 hour, a limited hour to end this session. So again, like these are given by Charles Socket, and the important one, the main one, the chief one, we have already discussed. The other thing that we will discuss today, that is the generality. And what do we mean by generality? That the meaning of generality is that all languages have a grammar. So generally, we have this misconception or a myth that certain languages are advanced, certain languages are primitive. Fine. Certain languages have more words, certain languages have less words. So this is very much possible that certain languages have more words. So we can have advanced civilization or primitive civilization. But we cannot say that we have a primitive language because all languages are equally complex. So here we have one example and how languages are different. But all languages have grammar. Irrespective of the fact, certain grammars are written, well documented, and certain grammars are only in the spoken form. So Valpiri is one such indigenous language of Australia, and in this language, the relative ordering of words is so free that the English sentence, "the two dogs see several kangaroos," could be translated by the equivalent of any of the following sentences. So in English, it is not possible to say it any other way. The two dogs see several kangaroos. You cannot see. You cannot say it any other way. You need to use like the before two, then two before dogs, and then the verb see, then several kangaroos. And if you just mix these words randomly, then the entire sentence will become meaningless. But this language, this indigenous language of Australia, Valpiri, now you can see like all these five ways of saying the same thing, like it means same. Like when you say dogs, two now see kangaroos several, it again means the two dogs see several kangaroos. And likewise, see now dogs, two kangaroos several, or see now kangaroos several, two dogs. Fine, everything is same. So here you can see like the subject dog comes first, here verb come first, here verb come first, here the object comes first, kangaroos come first, here kangaroos come first. So you can see like the languages, they are different. And now if someone is literally learning Valpari language, then the person will really find it quite difficult that how I will decide that what to say, because it looks as if there is no rule, but actually there is a rule, and the rule is bit complex here to say these things. So similarly, like in Hindi language, every word is gendered, every noun is gendered. So pankha, like fan, ghumta hai, fine. And kursi gir gayi. Now, if in a language there is no gender, masculine, feminine, then the person is in a fixity. Like, how can I decide the gender? Because ghumta, gaya, gayi, all such things, they are quite complex. So French is such one such language where you have every noun is gendered. But in English language, you do not have the nouns, they do not have any gender, but the gender is reflected only in pronouns where you have he, she, fine. So otherwise, like even like Ram Sita is Hindi word, like John and Mary, like John, let's say John runs, Mary runs, it's similar. But if you say this thing in Hindi, John दौड़ता है, Mary दौड़ती है, तो ताती. So that is like quite difficult for a person where the nouns are not gendered. So we need to understand like no language is primitive, no language is advanced. Civilizations are advanced or primitive, but not languages. So parity means like all languages are equal. So there is no disparity. Like we are not making a hierarchy. So there is a possibility like some economies are advanced and generally like money makes the mayor go. So generally people follow. Like why many people want to go to America? Why many people want to go to Europe? Because they want to earn more money. So the thing is like that way they are advanced. Economy wise they are advanced, but not the grammar wise. But we have a tendency like we follow the economy, and then we start making our judgment. So generally, like someone is rich, then we just uh, think high of that person. If someone is poor, then generally we look down upon that person. So that way all grammars are equal. So in linguistics we believe that there is no hierarchy, like this is one top language. So, contrary to popular belief, there is no such thing as primitive language, even in places untouched by modern science and technology. So, moreover, there is no such thing as a good grammar or a bad grammar. In fact, all grammars do essentially the same thing. They tell speakers how to form and interpret the words and sentences of their language. Very often, like we have this tendency, particularly in India, certain parents generally they prefer their children to speak in the English language, and generally they they rebuke their kids if they speak the mother tongue. So they want like their kids to speak English fluently, because they think like English is the language of employment, they think like English is the language of opportunity. So there is no doubt about that, but it does not mean like you should just not promote your own culture, you should not promote your own language, you should not respect your own country or civilization. So that way, like all grammars are equal. Then universality, like all grammars are alike in basic ways. Alike in a sense, like there are certain patterns that all language follows. So there are certain sounds which are common in all languages. So in considering how grammars can differ from each other, it is easy to lose sight of something even more intriguing and important: the existence of principles and properties shared by all human languages. So what are those properties? Like in all human languages we have nouns, in all human languages we have verbs, uh, adpositions, preposition or postposition that we have. So in all languages we have facility to say new things, creative things. So generally, each year, like writers, they write novels, poetry, fine. So in each language, it is a facility to tell a lie, fine. So all these things are the creative aspect of language. So when we talk about languages, like if we have a sentence like Canadians like hockey, then all the languages spoken across the globe, they follow this pattern. So Canadian likes hockey, that means like subject verb object, that is one pattern. Another pattern is Canadians hockey like, that means subject object and verb. Then like Canadians hockey, that means verb subject object. Then like hockey Canadians, that means like verb object subject. Then hockey like Canadians, that is object verb subject. And hockey Canadians like, that means object subject like. So all these languages, they fall under only these six patterns when it comes to the syntax. Otherwise, like, so we say per sound, per is like a plosive sound, per is a bilabial sound. So per sound is, I think, available in all the languages spoken across the globe. Per, so per sound is in English, per sound is in Hindi, Bangla, any other language. So that way, universality that is there. So other than this mutability also, that all grammars change over time. So the features of language that are not universal and fixed are subject to change over time. So prior to 1200, English formed negative construction by placing ne before the verb and a variant of not after it. So in the modern day English, we will say I don't say, but uh, in old English, we will say ik ne say not. So you can see like double negative we are using. Now we are not using double negative, we use only one. And you can also see like negative is coming before the verb and after the verb also. Ik ne say not. Fine. So another example is he does not speak, and we say he ne speaked not. So again double negative. So that means like if if you look at a ik ne say not, then you will see like it is not English language, it is something different language, because except the verb not, not, you will not recognize any other word. And similarly, when you look at b, then you will say only he I recognize, otherwise the spelling of not is also nawt, and speak is another such. So this is the thing that we have, like mutability. Mutability is like changeability. So writing is actually uh, makes a hindrance, an obstruction in this change, because writing is more for fixity, fixing the language. But when it comes to speaking, so that's why, like, we find variation in the dialect, because most of the dialects, they are only available in the spoken form, and the spoken language changes very quickly. That means, like, within 20-30 years you will find a new variation or new words for certain things. So that way, mutability is also a currency that all grammars change over time. Then inaccessibility, that means grammatical knowledge is subconscious. Subconscious, that means, like, it is not consciously possible. So there is a saying, like, think twice before speaking. So so think twice before you speak. So why think twice? Because the grammatical knowledge is subconscious, and most of the time, like, once we speak, then we realize what we have said. So knowledge of a grammar differs in important ways from the knowledge of arithmetic, traffic rules, and other subjects that are taught at home or in school. It is largely subconscious and not accessible to introspection. You can't figure out how it works just by thinking about it. As an example of this, consider your pronunciation for the past tense suffix written as ed in the following words. So ed is same, but you will pronounce first word hunted, id. Second word slipped, t sound is there, and buzzed, d sound is there. So though ed is same, but the pronunciation of ed in each word, hunted, id is there, slipped, only t sound, t, and in burst, the only d sound. So this is basically the grammatical knowledge is some conscious when we talk about it linguistically. So thank you all for attending this session. And if you have any doubt or question, then please raise your doubt and question. I'll be happy to answer it. And I hope, like, I have stick to the time. You can also you can even, like, I don't know whether you are allowed to write in the chat box, but you can raise your question. You can just send it to your administrator, then I will try to answer the questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for a rich content presentation which can impact our knowledge seeker surely. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seeker can learn something new which was our only intention. Learn and grow together, IGP knowledge seeker. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for your presentation. Now, sir, it's time for our question answer session, which is the one more valuable part of our regular webinar. Honorable sir, please stay with us. After a short video, we will back in our session part 2, which is the question answer part. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back to our participant, dear IGP knowledge seeker. Please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. So I think after a wonderful presentation, our participant can understand the topic very clearly. There are no questions from our participants. So once again, thank you so much, sir, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topic. It will add some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable sir, hope to see you again with a new topic and a new date. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Honorable dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we listed our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we listed our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. Certification process. Visit www.edioigp.com. Please make sure your presence on our website. Find a learning session and get enrolled. After watching completing part 1, move to the next using learning test passing mark 80%. If pass, back to the course again to download this certificate. If failed, retake the quiz. Download the certificate in PDF or JPG. For your attention, I am going to share the procedure again. Visit www.edioigp.com. Please make sure your presence on our website. Find a learning session and get enrolled. After watching completing part 1, move to the next use a learning test passing mark 80%. If passed, back to the course again to download your certificate. If you take the quiz, download the certificate in PDF or JPG. Dear IGP Knowledge, it's time for the most engaging part of this webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. We change a few processes for online quiz competition. Note that after life, no one can participate. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Visit www.edioigp.com and sign up or sign in. Without this, you cannot join live quiz competition anymore. Browse the live quiz button or given link, find the session name and join with your logged website or user account. Click join and wait for a few minutes for others to join and join on a live quiz competition. After the quiz, we'll issue certificate for top 10 as previously, which you can find on official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professional. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. With 21 people, we are going to start our quiz session right now. First question is, what language do you use to manipulate and communicate with the database? Is it option 1 or option 2? So option 1 is the right answer. 44% people are right here. Next question is, The language of international communication, is it option 1 or option 2? Option 1 is the right answer. 95% people are right here. Our third question is communication disorder, starting language implementation or voice implement. Is it option 1 or option 2? Option 1 is the right answer. 89% people are right here. Next question is communication can be verbal, written, or by using body language. Is it true or false? Option 1 is the right answer. 100% people are right here. Our next question is what language type is found in place where people of other language communicate with others? Option 1 or option 2? Option 1 is the right answer. 69% people are right here. Our next question is simple version of a language used by non-native speakers to communicate basic ideas or another term of slang. Is it option 1 or option 2? There are IGP knowledge seeker for electricity issue. We cannot continue the quiz session, so we will declare the issue. We will declare the result by the last question. So at the end of our session, we can say properly feed your skill. Never stop learning, cause life never stop teaching us. Be happy, stay safe. See you again and again. We want your participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, tied to a goal, not a people of things. Albert Einstein. Before I say hit the alert button, again want to thank all IGP knowledge seeker for your active participation as always. See you again in the next session. Thank you.